thing. People are interesting. We always think famous people are more interesting than everybody else, but the truth is you're more interesting than most famous people. And you're most interesting. You're more interesting. And you're more interesting. Everybody's got a story, but we don't seek out the stories of people around us. Sometimes we work with somebody 2,000 hours a year. We don't know anything about them. We don't know their kids' names. We don't know what they like to do for fun. But we go all fanboy on celebrities. We know everything about them, people we'd never meet. It's interesting. I told you earlier that I'm a big fan of meeting people, and on a normal day, non-pandemic day, I would have met 75% of you before the program, so I'll apologize for that, but I would have done the same trick that I did to meet Mr. Holbrook. I would have walked up to you in your seat and said, hey, sorry to interrupt. My name's Michael. I'm your speaker today, and I just want to say hi before we start the program. And probably shake your hand. I don't know if we're going to go back to that stuff anymore, but that was my old routine. I like doing it. I like learning people's stories. I'm interested in people. And I got that from my dad, who had a great little life skill. My dad, my dad used to say that if you meet somebody and they don't remember meeting you, it's the worst insult ever. So my dad worked really hard at first impressions. Like if you met my dad, you'd never forget. Not because he was weird or eccentric. He was just that memorable, you know. And even when I was single for a long time, I'm engaged to be married now to the redhead, and things are great. But man, and the auditions are over. But I was single for so long, and my guy friends loved going out with me to the bar because I was fearless, man. I would walk up to anybody and introduce myself. Those are the days, you know. And one day, my guys pulled me aside and they said, "What's up with you, man? Where'd you get this ability to do this?" Because it was like, I don't know what happens to men and guys and boys really in school, you know, when you have to walk all the way across the room to ask a woman to dance, and if she says no, what do you have to do? You got to walk all the way back again to your mates, and you know what they're going to ask you? What'd she say? You know, and then she said no, and you know, you're like this the rest of the night. You just can't pull yourself out of it. I never had that, probably thanks to the music business. And my mates one time pulled me aside and they said, "How does it you can walk across the room and introduce yourself to people you've never met before?" And I said, "I think everybody wants to meet me." And I guess I got it from the band days, because when we were in the band, it was true. If you either wanted to be in the band or you wanted to meet the band. It was just the thing if you were in the music business. But when I talk to people about this, I always remind people, I think everybody wants to meet you too. If you have a problem in your home and the police come, they want to meet you. And if you've got a fire in your house and the fire department comes, they want to meet the fire department. And if the water's been shut off, they want to meet somebody from the city. And a lot of times we start to convince ourselves that we're somehow, you know, the bad actor, you know, because we're the ones that shut their water off. You know, that they don't want to see somebody from the city, that the people from the city are going to be problems. What's that old saying? The two biggest lies ever told, well, I guess only one of them is a lie. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. You ever heard that saying? So a lot of people have that attitude about even their local municipalities. And I don't know how we got to be like that, but it's the way it goes. I do a lot of sales coaching these days because I teach presentation skills, and salespeople give a lot of presentations, and a lot of them are commissioned. So the quality of schools that they send their kids to is based on how good that they can do presentations. So they want to get trained, and I spend time with salespeople. And just to show you how much things have changed, I'm probably a little older than you think I am. I'm 62 years old. And I remember back in the day there was a thing called traveling salespeople. Anybody remember the theory that the traveling salesperson would kind of trundle up to the front door, and they're always carrying something? What are they carrying? Yeah, whatever they're selling, right? It's a valise of something. Vacuum cleaners, encyclopedia. God help the encyclopedia salesman. He's got to carry the encyclopedias. Whatever he's selling, he's got to have it with him. And he always came to the same door of the house, the salesperson. It was always a guy back then. I don't know why. But he always came to the same door of the house. What door of the house did he come to? front door. And he knocked on the front door. And in the early days of traveling salesmen, they not only let the salesman in, they gave him something to eat, something to drink. It was a thing, man. The salesman stayed for 2 hours. Now what happens when somebody knocks on your door? We pretend like we're not home. We're looking out the drapes. Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, he does a funny routine about that. That company comes over and everybody hides under the bed, Nobody wants to talk to anybody new. And that's how sales used to be, that you were so glad to have somebody come over. It was a big thing, and it was an afternoon tea. And it's not that way anymore. Everything is an interference. We're cocooned, and I think it's even become worse during COVID for various reasons. I don't know if we'll ever come out of it. I hope we do. And then they developed this thing called the Do Not Knock registry, where it became illegal to knock on people's homes or businesses if the Do Not Knock registry was in place. Then the Do Not Call registry. You couldn't, if you were a salesman, you couldn't call somebody to try to sell them something. And the internet comes into play there, because you can just go get it on the internet, right? So we started to do this thing where we weren't talking to each other as much as we normally do. And because we didn't talk to each other, we didn't get to know each other. And because we didn't get to know each other, we didn't appreciate each other as much. And then it became even harder trying to associate and get things done, the business of the day.